Asa naki ta. Okay, here we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Indigenous Ways Wisdom Circle tonight. Tonight, we want to acknowledge our Pueblo ancestors on the lands here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We want to acknowledge the caretakers of these lands. Where you're beaming in from, we want to acknowledge all your ancestors and your caretakers as well. And we also want to acknowledge our nonprofit. The mission statement is to bridge cultures globally through music and arts. And we've taken on some other duties as well with the nonprofit. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And tonight we have a very special guest. And you know what? Since I've been babbling on and on and on very spontaneously, like a broadcaster or something, which I'm not, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to our beautiful sister on the Dene land. And I want to tell you that L.A. Williams is a role model for the Navajo people because, first and foremost, she is on the land. She has dedicated her life to the Dene way of life. This woman, she knows how to rodeo like nobody's business. She can jump on a horse, she can barrel race, she can probably even shoe a horse, I bet. My grandma could, and maybe and she could do all that beautiful stuff that the Navajo people is known for. And you know what's really exquisite about L.A. Williams is she speaks Navajo so beautifully on the radio station. And what makes L.A. Williams so popular is all the elders up there on the mountains, up Black Mountain. My grandma would always listen to L.A. Williams with a battery, with a D batteries in one of those radios, KTNN. Oh, Thuggo L.A. Williams is talking away Navajo about the sports and the rodeos and the politics and everything from ceremonies to church gatherings, you name it. L.A.'s going to tell everybody what's going on all over the reservation. So tonight, L.A. Williams is joining us from Dene College out of Tsaile, Arizona, Tsaile. And that's where LA is based right now. And she is running the uh, college radio station there, and she's also working with a bunch of other networks throughout the Navajo Nation. So let's give it up for LA! Woo!
Very good. Well, thank you for the spectacular introduction, Tosh, and Chris, being good friends for the past few years of a lot of good things that we've done, and not knowing that we'll be hit with this pandemic. But life goes on. There's a lot of story behind all this, and thank you for having me on. And of course, your Black Mountain relief run that's going to happen November 6th. The winter supplies for our elders, and of course, the coal is here in Saline, Arizona, and that people are actually getting ready for the winter of how we are hauling wood and looking out for our animals, our horses, cattle, sheep. So getting ready for the winter. Ako yat eto de are lan kinafi benashe di iri anigi sehile hota habasilo otka kwage dinner college de kwa itsa akon de nash eje de enschle de bik gade shmana me Lake Valley, New Mexico. Sen jono hodiere are da shmana aro shja e pashish chinige ha trapa in le bebke ba oge de are shia ho a aro da chiche e ha senapetni aron da shindale e totsoni akonde chishikede ha shinale bitaro oh ato shines tra distinge ina nasoite hatrafi no tradolji and being from the Zuni Pueblo tribe, my mother being from Lake Valley, New Mexico, and that she came from there's two twins. It's an Asian. They separated, and the two twins and one from my great grandmother from Zuni, and how she migrated to the east into Lake Valley, New Mexico. And that takes us back to the long walk into the 1860s of the long walk, which remains as the memorial of those who live for freedom, walk for freedom. lot of hardship that happened back then, and we still live that today. And this pandemic, COVID-19 is an example of, it's telling us it's a new beginning, it's a new world, it's a new life, and we have changed. We're going on 8 months, and being here at the college radio station, I've been here 8 months, and when it really hit back in the month of April, May, and June, radio was a source communication of letting our local audience, our listeners, elders that need to know what's going on. What is this? What is this virus? And so when you talk to the elders, the older, they tell you that this has happened 100 years ago, that a lot of people, our Navajo people, died from this, and that it's testing us. Mother Earth is trying to recover from this, but it's telling us that we need to relearn what was taught to us, what was given to us when we were a lot younger. And so it's amazing the more we talk about it. Di kwagi bahanegi, jadi kosin sabe, finigi nas eitzata. Eda ne asa ne zatin na khayeta shinto put a hohot zajen. The ne you it's ado nesna. The nes de kade nas kwagi na hanan ni. Akonde alchin ni tleneta benkilhone. Let what the dangerada yhanjil nla tankis a dahalia. What that need there? Yod nebetanan. Do Kate Jarada ahawagi nan shadow, the beka shitli ehawagi bahajilia. A cook ni nahasa Bakai hastil, be hastil. A cook arebena antin. Disgingy bena antin. A call up a lati coward. A call the being it hone nantine by the hishij. A call a disgingy be ika. A call I see Nifna, see case. The ice, Nenegay, not on the Nin de Kayata, ni che, ni nada, ni masana, Hunkidini, a dahadia. Ye go shiajan, le bent, le nasco. She discharged and huts that listen, le Schlatina Hayata and huts that snake at Beika. A con ye chashetly put on Haha or Zigi, a con de niche had ne, be Joe, be Yajatio. Kodosh chase Masan, which is a Kenhado, which is here. The Lahant Negi, a con the Abadati Kahot. In communication and radio, we talk to our elders like they're right here, they're sitting right here, and telling them what this is, where it's coming from. It's affecting the world, the Navajo Nation, of what this virus is. And it's not pretty. We lost a lot of our relatives, our families, and we're knocking on 600 people that we've lost. And that it's like a wake-up call. It's a new beginning. Our Mother Earth is hurting. So prayers, we pray every day. We pray for one another. And this is a test for us that we'll get past this. But I sure like to say that a lot of you who are viewing and being part of tonight's segment, and if you'd like to text me a question, you're more than welcome to text me at 928-313-5002. I'd like to thank Elena and Tosh for hosting this segment of online. Today's world is Zoom. This is like, you're just right here. It can touch you right into the computer. And we talk about technology going so fast, and these younger generation are the ones that are leading the way of technology. And that's where we're at today. And all the classes in elementary, high school, college are all on Zoom. And it's amazing. And with the government giving us the um, funds to give back to our students with the relief fund, that we here at the college have gone half. The tuition was only half of the price of what they're paying, and a lot of people that are actually online, close to 2,000 students that we have, and they are students not just from the Grand Canyon state of Arizona. They are from afar, way in Canada, Montana, in California, New York, coast to coast. They're the ones that are online taking advantage of the half price of the relief fund that helped meet them halfway. And I had a chance to interview the Navajo Culture Program the other day, and they have students worldwide, and they're thankful because they don't have to be here in the classroom, because we're in a remote area of the Navajo Nation. And what we have is a little corner store, and the closest place is probably Chinle, Winter Rock. But a lot of these students are from afar, and they're so thankful that they're learning the language, and they're also being part of the studies that we have, and how we're taking advantage of life, a new world, new beginning. But my career is in radio broadcasts, and I oversee the radio production, and it's a one person overseeing the programming of what we have each and every day of our audience, the local audience that listen during the morning session from 6 a.m. to 12 o'clock. And so programming, operation, and a lot of interviews. Been doing a lot of interviews, and we have people that call in from all parts of this world and sharing stories. And so I think it's good to make it colorful for our people here in the local area. So I was talking about how we're blessed from 100 years back, 50 years back, that our grandparents, they prayed into the future, way ahead of us, into the future of how life is going to be and how successful we will be. And that the person we are today has been spoken for in prayers. And so 28 years ago, in the early 90s, I started over at KTNN broadcasts, and that a job opening for sportscasting for the first time when KTNN got on the airwaves, 1986. So they were talking about 8 years, and they were looking for a sportscaster. And so I went over to the radio station and to apply. So I opened up the binder, and big, bold, red letters that said, "Must speak the Navajo language." And so I had to brush up on my language, but I applied, and there was 12 of us who applied for the sportscasting position. And that, believe it or not, the other 11, my opponents were all men. All, it seems like back then the men had more power than ladies. And so I knew my stuff, and I knew that I wanted to do something like this, to be bilingual sportscasting, and that the challenge was there. So the challenge of being a sportscaster, and before I was hired, there was down to 2 of us, and questions that were given to us. And the question that I was asked was, how will you change radio? And then I had a big smile, and I said, equal rights, man, woman, boy, girl, male, female, all one level, like this, one level. because it was all about the boys, the men, football, which was big, and I played basketball for Holbrook High School and the local radio station KDJI, Roy Roberts, Radio Roy. And he says, "Oh, the girls' games are boring. It's not worth doing the girls' game, so we don't bother." And so that being said, it's like, one day, not now, but in the future, the girls will be better than the boys. And a great example was Rinaldi Vicente, who went into the WNBA, Phoenix Mercury, and how everything changed. You had Gwen Hobbs, who played for Navajo Academy and made big names, and other natives have made big names as females in sports. So now, right now, we're finally at that equal rights of what sports is. So starting at the radio station, and that's what I implemented and what radio is. And so both in Arizona, they have boys and girls playing one night. New Mexico has one girls one night, the boys the other night. So, but I got the position, I got the job, and it was a big test because everybody would call me at the radio station, challenge me, and they're all men. Men want to challenge me of them knowing more, but I stood up, I did my homework, I did everything, my preparation, and so 28 years, and I'm knocking on 30 years to actually to say that I've been broadcasting, and it's not ending. It's something you enjoy. If you enjoy something, just continue to go after what there is. And that's an advice for the kids, the younger generation, of giving them an advice. They can be whatever they want to be, but make the right choices, because life is further into the next years ahead of you. But radio gave me a lot because I travel the world, and sharing the language, giving the play-by-play, the Phoenix Suns, the Phoenix Mercury, the Arizona Cardinals, Super Bowl, and the neck as yo be coaches done nan just yaji haneki just be not ne ni che ni masana che yo ye ne clean is not uncle yaji just be not ne je kojo just na was and then nas atoita his toes trust up a lato hils ebenash nasna this kind oil vision long bahajne. So making it descriptive of what radio is today in the world of sports, and painting the picture as it is of how grandma and grandpa would really enjoy the game sitting on the sideline. That's what it is, of telling the game as it is. And so I sure appreciate it. And again, if you'd like to text a question at 928-313-5002, and how painting the picture of what radio is. I mean, we've done it. I mean, it's the best part of my life of being a radio broadcaster. And here at the college, I get to share with these younger students that want to go into maybe not broadcasting, but they just want to be a good public speaker. And so getting them on the radio and teaching and coaching them as well. And that when I broadcast the beginning of my career, I went to a handful of basketball games, and I was in Ganado, and there was a gentleman they brought by me, and he sat by me, and this gentleman was blind. And so I kept trying to make it colorful for this blind man that sat by me, and he didn't crack a smile at all. So 2, 3, 5 games came around, and I changed my game, made it more descriptive, and So I was painting a picture for this gentleman that sat by me. By the time it got to the state tournament, he was jumping up and down. He was happy. And at the state tournament, he was wild. He could see the game on radio. And that made me successful that he taught me the game. And so a year later came around and I kept looking to my right side and this gentleman never came back. And this family came up to me and said that he had died. He died. And just that feeling and thinking that, he taught me the game. He made me tell it as it is, to be colorful, and he could see the game on the radio. But I just made a promise to myself that I'll live for him. So when I'm having a bad day or a bad game, I just look to the right side and I say, come on, get with it, get with the ball game. And but this gentleman today still live for him. And he probably looks upon us and say, you know what, you're doing what you need to be doing, and sharing the information with our elders. And the other part about broadcasting from the beginning, that I was told that I needed to advocate. I needed to advocate for the Navajo Nation. And I picked diabetes. And my boss back then was a diabetic, and so I advocate for diabetes. And if there's an event going on, I'd be part of it. My boss always said, finish everything that needs to be done for tomorrow, for the next day, and you're going to join the diabetes program and go wherever they are going to be tomorrow, the next day. So that being said, I pretty much know where all the back roads of the Navajo Nation of diabetes. We've done the Navajo Nation walk across the Navajo Nation from east to west. From Crown Point was the first year back in the early 90s when they started this walking together for a healthier nation now. And so it took probably a couple weeks maybe from the eastern part of the Navajo Nation to the western part of the Navajo Nation. And now they have to Just Move It. And that Just Move It, it all passed by because of this pandemic. And but virtual, people have been really tabulating that they've been walking. But this Just Move It, ego, is up to you as an individual to get where you're at. And that diabetes program started back in the 90s, so did the Just Move It. And the gentleman from Shiprock had started this program, and he represented from the healthcare center there in Shiprock. And I remember broadcasting the very first Just Move It walk in Crown Point. And back then they had those big phones, big legendary phones, and you had to run up on top of the hill, the nearest hill, and make your phone calls. And so now it's like you got this worldwide phones that people use, the technology that's been running ahead of us. Now we're catching up with them, but it's amazing just to paint the picture and talk a little bit about what radio is today. Le the natin se pina khayata ajit nilchne they taga zando kitinen ajit na kids ata nil ego akwagi kharatilia seregi hatza akwagi jopina ne pahanaj ako this tweet ya I see this tweet da ni gyu da nenegi akon the shisaziro ya aya he host ero de jopina ne sani do ekedo jikenda nenegi akon the nason sits a case le na kinahay ta na hay naso in such a case so ni hita ni gyu ni hit he host ero de jopina ne ban such a case so ni do de pa hao zi ako be bo ni lo bana shit pa dishin aroshi ban such a case ha shinalen de hatlin la ya hadne you ha ya hadne ako ishi sad it's on hala on ne hi lanso ako kadishji de kwagi hota bzilo ultra di chin ho 다스타기 사콘 한다는 시기 베이비스 허질네요. 요이네트네 bizarre جنو نلچنا نلچ خلناتو yin tra ko a naso be olta and the students here at the college that actually come through the doors as interns, they get to learn the language, they get to learn the philosophy, the culture, the reading and writing of what we're all about, and that they get to sit behind the microphone and tell the audience of, they identify themselves of who they are and their teaching from their grandparents and sharing that with the elders in the local area of news, information that they need to know. And it's amazing that these kids are very successful. All the ones that came through the door and left have graduated. And being here for the last 3 years, we have 5 students that were honor students that were on the dean's list, on the president's list, and they're very successful. But very few have been or will be studying what radio is today. And KTNN, Native Broadcast Enterprise, I still do side jobs for them, and but it seems like it's never ending. It makes me wonder where I'm going to be at the next 30 years. But at least I have everything on tape I get to listen to and say that I once was part of that. But with what's going on today with this COVID-19 pandemic, it made us change. It made us maybe to be the better person of who we are, and we just need to we're learning from this pandemic, and it's happened 100 years ago, and that we continue to tell our grandparents to make sure that they're not they got to abide by our rules today. Grandparents are up in the mountains. They're traditional, and they know they already know what this is. But we just pray every day that it'll be for the better. We'll get past this pandemic. The lady kashi, yeah, gon safe case, not on the hanne. On the btsish tlijin denegi the atsaton le naho kwasho. Azu shinto the Nele Are Hosne, the Montana Blackfeet Reservation, the Thorne, and he beach in the Kri, Ketan, a Toita, and the Pasne, she did that then. A call, Lasta, the Nen Lenigi, Nahayat, a Lake Taho, now they have Baho, and I'll keep it or bus. A home or paso, a she chian. Nee ki oko yana kion shin ande the began shin kwaki the 8 ban that just jaw oko natza she ha le tro de tat dikis tan dil os aro 8 le nasjai biti na bi 80 na a queen za gonta biste e di chian nebch hoda dilni et abahne in the naho kwasho the stop eshinto yiteni stra ako hito which in the kai shi shima no e in tsisia da tenashni tsiko shimasan den ditani tanfni ikos bahne gini tanfni oh you the nates are nezna I yesh hodne benashni no ako eshinat on the hatashi pahone ako ek atishji di ikha ako de shje ha da no e o di bich di kha ne naso bich di kha ako de shi bitsaro oho a de bi ikha bitsaro oho a cho atan kito ni tlot dan jaga yan dan la khan kis aro yod ne betran nan an zade to yod ne betran jaga la kote ni ne aro ni chiyan da na ya tegin ya e kote no ko ek adishji de ka bi ikha ye gon sil kis akon de citizen et journalistic there. I see the cases. See thought the be. Quit. I don't have zero tra inch tra. The case hasting. Hush. The journal in the nas. Nito naso do tendo lehan so this case. It's amazing how you're so used to your grandparents and you grew up with them and they lead, you follow. My Nolly man was everything. He's like better than John Wayne, but we've done everything, horseback riding, and I picked up a lot from him. But the day he died, I stood over him thinking, he's supposed to live forever. My grandfather's supposed to live forever. So that was a teaching right there that you get of age, you go on, you die, but the memories are always going to be here. And we live that today because his teaching are my teaching. And my father told me the other week that his teaching was from his mom, but his teaching is from the mother. So right now I have my mom or my dad on the line. Yate. And so, yeah, let me call you back. Hushne. Oh, and your father will call you to check on you because it's like you're thinking a lot alike. And I'm talking about him because he says his teaching is his mom, which is my grandmother, and that's what we live today. You don't say things that you shouldn't be saying. There's teachings along, and that my Nolly man probably prayed for me way back and said that you're going to be the one that's going to be on the radio, and you're the one that's going to be telling the audience, the people, the importance of life, of what we're going through. So each and every morning we pray and go into the studio and I do an update and be that cheerful person because people will always remember you how you talk on the radio, and that they would say, wow, you made it sound fun, exciting. That's the whole idea. But if you're not having a good day, go home. Just go home and deal with it at home and don't bother being on the radio. But there's a lot of teaching in our lives. And I sure hope each and every one of you are enjoying this segment and what I'm sharing, because it is a life story. And I enjoy everything that I've done. It took me places. I met Pat Summit in Knoxville, Tennessee. And we're talking like maybe 10 years ago. And Pat Summit is a lady that will not take anybody's questions. So she comes into the stadium and these big drapes open up and she walks down, and then these securities walk behind her, in front of her, and she'll sit on the sideline, and nobody sits down until that first bucket goes in for the Tennessee Lady Vols volunteers. And but at the end of the game, I was there, and I went into the conference post game wrap up of media. Everybody's sitting there, and she just pulled up her little notepad. She asked herself 3 questions, and then she put it down. She says, "Thank you very much. Have a good night." She got up and she was walking out. I said, "Wait a minute, I didn't ask a question." So I stood up and I said, "Hey, coach, you had Roberta Tahi from Gallup, New Mexico, who played for you last summer. You also had Amy North from Tuba City." And I had that good carry of my voice. And she turned around and she walked up and she said, "As a matter of fact, I did." And that was the picture perfect time of her to turn around and come back and give me an interview. And don't have any proof that I have photos, but I have her voice. Her voice is I have on a recording. And I said, "Coach, can you please read this for me?" And she said, "Sure." And she said, "Hello, Navajo Nation. This is Pat Summit with the Lady Vows. We love basketball on the Navajo Nation." So it was amazing on that. But thank you so much. And we're going to be wrapping up. So, folks, like to thank our good friends with Indigenous Ways. Of course, Black Mountain Relief Run, November 6th, winter supplies. So think about our grandparents, our elders, they need warm clothes, slippers, pajamas, and wood. So hakuona,
Oh, Ihehet. Oh, Ihehet, Ayesa, thank you very much, L.A. Williams. And everybody stay on for just a minute. I'm going to make a couple of announcements, and then we're going to invite everybody on. If you want to stay and ask L.A. Williams some pertinent questions about Navajo Nation or whatever, stay on for that. But in the meantime, I want to really quickly say next week, we're very excited to have Dr. Joseph Marshall III, who is beyond amazing. He's a Lakota elder, and he's written several books, publishing companies, the whole nine yards. And he's also a traditional Lakota speaker. It's his first language, so he's going to share some rising and resilient stories with us next week. And he is good. He's very intense. So I encourage everybody to come. And I also want to thank all of our funders for sponsoring us, the National Endowment of the Arts, West Staff Cares, New Mexico Arts, New Mexico Humanities Council, and the National Endowment of Humanities. Right above us, right above my head, you see IndigenousWays.org. If you wouldn't mind, go check it out. It's a website and it's very user friendly. You can join our newsletter there. You can also go to our Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, you name it, we got it. We're on social media, we're out there. We're bridging cultures globally with this platform right now. So we're really excited for our Black Mesa trip. I'm going through this pretty speedy, so apologies to Zola, our interpreter. Our Indigenous Ways relief run to Black Mountain is happening on November 6th, and we're very excited. We just received a whole box of really fit cotton socks from our sisters in Ohio. So thank you for that, Donna and Christine. We got that in yesterday. We have some scarves coming in for our Sanis, those nice real scarves, and we're getting that from overseas. And we're also getting a bunch of other stuff coming in. And then next week, I'm going to go do the big shop for like Bengay and Alka-Seltzer. Those things are really important up there on the mountain. Batteries, vitamin D batteries, flashlights are really good. Beanie caps. If you all want to donate, we would sure appreciate it. You can go to our PayPal account. You can go to our Indigenous Ways. And again, it's very easy. You can even send a check. There's the postal address. And other than that, we're excited. So everybody come on in. We want to see your beautiful faces. Everybody come in and say hi to L.A. Williams. And social media, thank you all for joining us this evening on Facebook, on messages, and thank you very much for that. And send a message if you want to say something to L.A. Williams, and we'll go ahead and tell her what you're saying on Facebook. And I want to just let you know that Zoom has a new update right now, and we're trying to figure out how to get dual screens on Facebook. It's not happening right now, so there is a closed caption feature for those of you that rely on the interpretation. We're working on it right now on Facebook. It doesn't appear that that's coming through the double screen. That's very unfortunate, but I believe the closed caption is working. We're onto it. We're onto it and we're troubleshooting. So thank you all for being here tonight. Let's get started with Jerry Barney.
Hey, Tosh. Hi, everybody. Yacht A, LA, Yacht A. Sorry,
Oh,
I'm in a room where it's kind of dark and stuff, but can you guys hear me okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yoga.
Okay. Cool. LA, yay. I'm glad I got to see you. Yeah. Your words, your wisdom, thank you very much for the reminder of what this, what is going on today, and that I really took to heart that yes, we need to make some changes. We need to alter some of the negative changes that we have, and to change for our Mother Earth and to take care of her. And yeah, I used to listen to you. I think I've met you a few times. I've met you a few times, and at KTNN. I think I remember before I went to Boston, I did get to hear and see you. And I thank you for also saying that, what the words that come out of our mouths, the words that we speak go out forever. And your Nollies and your Chays and Masanas have spoke words, and that went out. And now it is instilled, in the people of today, and how they take care of themselves and their mannerisms. And yeah, I'm just very grateful. Thank you, Indigenous Ways. Yeah,
We love you, Jerry. Thank you. And as
love
always,
you too.
thank you, L.A. Williams. And I want to acknowledge my Aunt Emma Dixon from Fort Defiance. Of course, she's from Black Mountain. Emma, if you want to unmute and say hi.
Oh, yeah, LA, Jonagon Hijahenzi, very encouraging and inspiring to the young Navajos. Although I used to always listen to you broadcasting on basketball games, you do make it very interesting. So keep it up.
I put you on the sideline right there. Yep.
Yeah.
You, Shemayaja, for helping out the ASL interpreters when we do our festivals on the reservation. You've been there for us, Emma. So thank you for putting those little things in your ears and telling the interpreters what the Navajo speakers are singing and saying. That's really beautiful. This is our Navajo interpreter, Emma, my aunt. She's beautiful. Is that Eagle? Eagle! Musawa, would you like to say something? Unmute, please.
She put me on the spot. I had to
On the
say.
disata.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. I just want to give a lot of appreciation to LA for being with us tonight and sharing that really good information, and especially just about our elders and respecting them, and understanding that, they help us all the time, if they're here or in the spirit world. And also, just really feeling my mother and grandmother and back, and my grandfathers and father, just missing them, and knowing that they had to go through really hard times too, and yet they stuck with the family, and that how important that is. And I love the basketball stories. I love basketball, and I love that there's so many great basketball players on the Navajo Nation. And Pet Summit is a wonderful, what a successful, one of the best women's coaches ever on the whole planet. And sending her some love, tonight too. And just happy that we can organize around helping out the elders on the Navajo Nation and getting their winter supplies in. And being a mountain woman myself, I know how important that is. And I'm also getting my wood in and getting my dog food. And I'm also going to be helping out by packing up some of those food boxes, and any other way I can. So thank you.
So, and I'd like to do a shout out to Christine. Christine, would you like to say something? Christine McDewitt.
Hello, I just wanted to say thank you, and especially for sharing your beautiful language. I'd love to hear all the many different languages in the world. it's not for me always important to understand the words, but I feel and hear the energy. And it was very beautiful and powerful to hear you speak in your native language as well as in English for those of us who don't understand Navajo. Thank you very much. I could really take in not only your story, but just the energy and the beauty.
Sheila Martinez, would you like to say any words? Sheila Martinez is from the San Ildefonso Pueblo. She's a Supreme Court judge and vice president of our nonprofit. Thank you for being with us tonight, Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you, LA. LA. I thought I had met you before. I probably did in Pele at one of our other, hopefully, but you reminded me of one of my Zuni friends. And jokingly, we used to call each other, or she allowed me to call her Wee Wee. I guess that means a little kind of nickname in Zuni. And, but, you know, your choices, I like what you shared about your choices. We make those choices ourselves and we choose what path we need to walk on. And I really liked how you pointed out that we need a change and how we have to walk as survivors through all this historical trauma from the past, and you show us how to do that by using your native language, which I thought was really awesome. And you know, and I speak Tewa a little bit. I wish and pray a lot of the times that I could fluently speak it, you know, but I get by, and that's of my own choice. You know, I'm choosing that choice. I can go out and sit every day with an elder if I choose, but I haven't had that. I'm probably almost there. And anyway, I'd like to thank you and just thank you for your wisdom and hope we connect for more with Indigenous ways on our path. Thank you.
Right, L.A. Williams. Donna, would you like to say something real quick before we wrap up?
Hi. Awesome stories. I love sports. I loved sports as a little girl, and I'm so happy that you've been able to live your dream, because that wasn't really available for me when I was growing up. So I'm just a good spectator. That's what I get to do, and I'm amazed that you're able to even that there is a Navajo language sportscaster for the Navajo Nation. That's incredible. And you did not just local sports, but you did professional teams as well, as what I gathered. So congratulations. Great story. Great life. Thank you.
Awesome, Donna, and thank you for supporting Indigenous Ways. We got the socks. We're very happy, and people on Black Mountain will be very happy as well.
You're welcome.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time tonight. We've gone a little bit over. Thank you, interpreters, for your flexibility on this. And if you want to share our recording, we're going to be going live. Events if you can. And I just want to say, L.A. Williams, thank you very much. And we love you for everything you've done. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this. And we want everybody to stay safe, wear your mask, and stay very proactive with voting. Everybody needs to vote, vote, vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, just vote. We love you. How going at? L.A. Williams, give it up for L.A. Woo! How going at? I'll call you, Mom. How going at?